It looks like the Sean Diddy Combs sex trafficking trial could be wrapping up. The prosecution and defense attorneys are expected to rest their case today or tomorrow. Combs pleaded not guilty on all charges, and his lawyers won't call a single witness to testify. Okay, that's what we're up to. So, Sonny, you were in the courtroom for so much of this trial. Where do you see this heading?
You know, I think it's very interesting that this defense team decided not to call any witnesses, testimonial witnesses. They are going to put in some documentary evidence, some text messages, things like that. But that tells me that they think the prosecution proved the defense case. That's what that tells me. 95% of federal prosecutions end in a conviction. You know, there's a very high conviction rate. But when defendants testify, the conviction rate goes up even higher. So I'm not surprised that Sean Combs didn't testify, although I believe that he wanted to. He was a very engaged defendant. He was passing sticky notes around. He even got admonished by the judge for nodding to the jury. So I suspect he's the kind of guy that thinks he can get on the witness stand and charm the jury into believing that he didn't do some of the things he's alleged to do. He did not. He also did not go on the stand. It's extremely, extremely rare. Less than, I mean, most defendants don't testify. I've had the opportunity to cross-examine, cross-examine defendants, and they've all been convicted.
So, do you think that if he gets off the hook, is he going to make a comeback? Do you think? A lot of them. I
think it would be really difficult, you know, to be honest with you. And I don't know that he'll get off the hook on everything. I don't think the prosecution has proven racketeering. I don't think the prosecution has proven sex trafficking. But in terms of taking prostitutes across state lines to engage in prostitution, that's the Mann Act. I think there's pretty clear evidence of that, but that's less than 10 years. The max
Mann
is 10
Act,
years.
because only men do that.
It's called the M-A-N-N Act. But I've got to tell you, it's been really fascinating to watch because this jury doesn't seem to be buying what the prosecution is selling. That's just my
Anna,
take.
do you think he'll be off the hook?
You know, I have absolutely no idea. I've kind of marveled at how little of this case I've actually paid attention to. I really miss the days of Sleepy Joe when I could follow celebrity trials, but between a war in Iran, and Latinos getting hunted in the streets of America, I'm having a really hard time on this. And I also think part of it is that I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted that this keeps happening, that rich, powerful, connected men with the aid of enablers and associates get away with abuse and treating women and harassment.
Allegedly.
Well, some of them, I'm not just talking about Diddy.
Yeah.
I'm talking about others who've been convicted.
Yeah.
And, you know, there's time and time again, there's all these powerful rich men.
Yeah.
And they never did it by themselves, right? They always had people around them who looked the other way, who helped them find women, who hid it, and just because they were rich and powerful, and that needs to stop. And that I think is on us.
Even if he's not found guilty, I wanted to find some comfort in the same frustration you had, Anna, that there are going to be a lot of civil trials. It's not the same.
He's facing over 60 civil lawsuits. Thank you for reminding me of that, because he's facing over 60 civil lawsuits. And you know when they say on television, anything you say can and will be held against you in a court of law, that is true. So had he testified, all those people would be waiting for his testimony.
And his businesses are suffering. His vodka brand suffered a 26% drop. His album collection will not be worth a lot because there aren't going to be people wanting to put him in movies, commercials. It dropped in all its value to 10% of what it once was.
And it was $750 million.
And the biggest point here is that whereas a lot of
Johnson & Johnson baby oil stock must have gone way down too.
Whereas a lot of people in certain industries have turned their head because, like Weinstein, when all of it came out in trial, a lot of the allegations, people said, oh, a lot of people knew that in the industry. The same thing here. People said there were infamous parties. Everyone knew about it. Well, you can't unring that bell to the international public. Everyone that's witnessed that will not unsee. It's not like a trial where you say, you need to strike this from your memory. You know, like, we all saw it. So I don't know how quickly.
Oh, you mean the hotel video of the beating?
The video, but also hearing all this, although it's allegations, everyone takes their own, we're not the jury. We can take our own gut feeling of who we believe and what we see. You can't unring that bell now.
And 34 witnesses, 7 weeks, you know, of testimony and trial.
Alyssa, jump in there.
Well,
surprised.
I've tended to agree with Sonny from the outset of this because I think you set it up well by saying listen, and as did his defense attorney, Mark Garagos, this is a man who is not a good guy.
Agnifilo.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mark Agnifilo, that this is a guy who's not a good guy. He's an abuser of women, but that's not what he's on trial for, because none of us can unsee that footage of him beating Cassie. We can't.
Yeah.
Any of us who read her original civil filing against him when she talked about the abuse, you can't unhear and unsee that. Like, it's not a question to me that he is a very bad guy. But it gets a lot harder when you charge potentially too much. And this proving RICO, the racketeering charges,
Very
and
difficult.
proving human trafficking is very challenging. But this is where I think the public, who is so sick of people getting away with things, have a role in this. Like, I believe in conscious consumerism in what you buy. And in the same way, I don't listen to Kanye West anymore. I don't listen to R. Kelly anymore. I'm certainly not going to be listening to Diddy. I'm not going to be buying his products. And I feel like that's the small way that we can say, you cannot be an abuser of women who tortures people. And just because the system may allow you to get away with it, we're not buying your product.
Well, Sunny, one question I have for you, though, is with the success rate of prosecutions, why did they make this misstep by overcharging?
You know, I don't think that they thought it was a misstep. If you look at this prosecution team, they are the best of the best. James Comey, remember James Comey with the Hillary investigation? His
He
daughter.
wasn't too good then.
But his daughter, Maureen, is excellent, and she is heading that prosecution. When you mentioned Garagos, his daughter is on the defense
That's
team.
where I
Mark
got it wrong,
Garagos' daughter, Tenny Garagos. And these are two excellent teams of lawyers litigating this case. But I haven't seen RICO. I haven't seen RICO, and I haven't seen sex trafficking. But I think this jury has heard a lot of horrible things, but always remember, the burden of proof on the prosecution is beyond a reasonable doubt. It's a very high burden. The defense only needs to have one juror have reasonable doubt, and the defense wins.
You know, to your point about not listening to people like whoever you mentioned, not that I listen to any of them anyway, but I think that when you're a genius like Picasso, who was accused of, you know, abusing women, I think that we still go to he has a whole museum dedicated to him in Malaga in Spain. Everybody knows Picasso.
individual, though,
It depends on how much of a genius you are. I think.
how much time
and
you
this guy is not a genius. That's
I think
his
the
problem.
benefit of the history, too, because I think that we've kind of course-corrected a bit more than maybe we did in Picasso's era. Because I actually think Kanye's a
Picasso's
genius,
era.
but Kanye's a horrible person in a way.
Kanye, you think is a genius?
I think he's a hip-hop genius, but I would never listen to his music because of things he said.
Well, we are post-Me Too, right? We're in the post-Me Too era, and I think in some respects, this is going to be a referendum on that. Like, if he does not get found guilty of anything, where are we at?
Yeah.
I mean,
as a
I
society?
just watched an Alfred Hitchcock movie. He was very nasty to women.
Yes.
I watch his movies. I mean, I don't know what I'm supposed to.
But was he a genius?
I mean, he kind of is a genius.
Hitchcock was a
He was.
genius.
He
Yeah.
was.
I don't know about this guy.
But there's a difference between being nasty to men or women and being a criminal.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
Well, that's a tease. Okay. We'll pick up there.